Bear with me for just a sec, I promise the countdown will start soon. The game I'm about to cover is set to receive a big graphics update in the near future. For the most part, this doesn't influence my rankings at all, given that it seems to be purely cosmetic, so if the specimens in the HD version of Spookies look different at the time that you're watching this, it's because you've leapt into the future, and frankly, you need to do something about it, because this is a freaking you problem. Alright, that's all. Enjoy the video, everybody.
Why do you run, child?
No, seriously, why do you run? It's just me, stupid. It's the antlers, wasn't it? Or maybe the little fangs? Or the rib cage? Don't worry about this, okay? It's fake. It's real, and it hurt me so much. Trick or treat, by the way. I could seriously fuck up some crunch bars if you got any. Hand them over. Specimen Wam reporting in, ready to scare the pants off of ya. What do you mean they're off already? Put them back on, you've misread the situation.
Howdy everyone, Wambu there.
Oh, a third-person intro. It's bold, it's different, an exciting new venture to uncharted territory, the likes of which no one has ever seen. For those of you who are longtime fans of
Wait, I'm here too!
True, I guess.
Are you not going to acknowledge this?
Acknowledge what?
Hello, I am Spooky, and this is my home. Never mind, I'll just give it a sec.
Okay. For those of you who are longtime fans of viral indie horror or of, this channel, you might remember the game I'm about to cover. A cult classic released in 2014 and continually updated up to today. Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Wait a minute. Spooky! You're Spooky from Spooky's House of
That took way too long. Not special anymore.
Howdy doody everyone, Spooky there.
Okay, it's kind of special again.
Sorry, I thought you were like a paid actor for some shitty bit I was doing, but you're literally Spooky.
In the, well, not flesh, but you know.
Oh, this is so cool. Why don't you do the intro then? Tell us about your game while I just dig in.
Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion is a game where my friends and I, kill you.
Never mind, you're bad at this and I don't have a mouth. Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, the game about trying to survive your way through 1,000 rooms while being hunted down by 13 different horror archetypes, or as the game calls them, Specimens, in the main game mode. The mode we're talking about today is about surviving your way through infinity rooms while being hunted down by the same 13 guys, along with a bunch of extra bozos. And you know what? It's those extra bozos I've got my eye on today.
Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, extra bozos ranked.
Exactly.
Extra lit, more fan. Gone sexual?
Stop. Anyway, to explain, I've ranked the aforementioned 13 main game specimens already, but the game actually has way more of them thanks to 2 DLC chapters that have come out since initial release. Ordinarily, it'd be a little weird to talk about them since they're mostly one-off encounters in the context of the DLC. If only there was some kind of game mode where I could encounter most of these specimens in the style of the main game.
Endless mode.
I know, I was just building up suspense. Endless mode, where specimens from the main game, Karamari Hospital, and Dollhouse all team up to kill you, as well as bringing 5 more unique specimens into the fold.
You're gonna rank all of the Karamari, Dollhouse, and Endless mode specimens. That sounds like a lot.
Kinda. There's a lot of weird nonsense I had to do in order to rank all these extra specimens in a way that made sense. So I did the worst thing. I made a list of rules, which I'll now begin to recite rapid fire.
I hate rules.
We're kindred spirits, you and I. Rule 1, specimens can't be from the main game. That's kind of a given, I talked about them already. Rule 2, specimens must have an endless mode chase. Karamari Security Guard and Dollhouse Military Nightmares are off the table. Unfortunately, that eliminates Frenzy as well. Cool specimen, but no endless chase. Maybe someday, though. Rule 3, I get to break Rule 1, but only once. Rules were meant to be broken, okay? This'll make sense later. Rule 4,
I do what I want. You don't get fucking say it. You're not the boss of me. You don't get to fucking tell me what to do.
I don't want to talk about the husks. They have an endless mode chase, technically, but they just kind of feel like minor enemies. And also, they're boring, and also they look like Bobby Hill. I don't want to talk about them.
That's my purse! I don't know you! You left yourself open, Hondo.
Everything makes sense?
Don't answer that.
But yeah, here it is. Spooky's extra specimens ranked from least good to least auto.
What?
Sorry, from most auto to most good.
Okay, whatever.
Say, Spooky, not for nothing, but why are you here?
To judge you harshly. This feels disorganized, and you seem like kind of a mess.
Very hurtful, but understood. Welcome aboard. Before we begin, could I get you to say something real quick?
Trans rights.
Okay, I'm glad you're here. This is awesome. Let's begin.
Roll it.
We the best music.
Oh, I hate this disgusting, deplorable vermin. I will subject you to agony you've yet to imagine. I will fucking annihilate you. Oh, sorry, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the harmless cartoon animatronic otter. You're a fucking bastard and you're gonna pay for your fucking crimes. On the topic, actually, these extra specimens have a distinctly different appeal than the main game ones. The OG specimens mostly have these momentous encounters, with usually at least a tinge of narrative buildup. It's like, some dude drowned and now the children are missing. Some woman died and now the children are missing. I am Cult Man and now the children are on fire. Spooky, there's a lot of child murder in your mansion.
A lot of child murder. Really? You don't say.
Anyway, the extra specimens aren't like that at all. They do not waste time for the most part. They show up, they're extremely jarring and unexpected, and they basically gun for you right away. Describing what does and doesn't work about each of them is odd, because they're arguably more intimidating than the main game specimens due to their unpredictability, but also fundamentally a little more shallow. The bar is arguably lower for them, but unlike the main game specimens, some of them do not even come close to clearing it.
Where are you going with this?
Otto the Otter's a scraggly little chode.
And there it is. You think maybe you directed a little too much hatred at him?
I don't stop till the otter falls.
He was a joke, and he kind of just got loose before he was dismantled. So he's just like, he's just around.
Oh, he's just a joke, you say?
Yes.
I fucking hate jokes.
There's no way that's true.
Yeah, you're right. I just want to be really, really mad. But yeah, it's true. Otto the Otter is a joke specimen. Apparently, shortly after the game initially released, the developer Kira got a bunch of people pestering them to make a Five Nights at Freddy's themed specimen. And they decided, you know what? We do a little bit of trolling. And that's the problem. Not the trolling part, the little bit part. We do a pinch of trolling. We do a single grain of trolling. Put simply, there's no joke here. I mean, yeah, Otto the Otter sucks. He's slow, does pitiful damage, and is the very opposite of imposing, but there's no gotcha. No moment where the irony really comes into focus. It's not a punchline or a fake out. The rug is still very much under you, and it's completely unpulled. He still has a modestly spooky locale. He's still got the little pitch down laugh. He's not some quick gag you get until the real specimen shows up. He is the specimen for this encounter. It's a half-hearted enemy made for the sake of an ultimately half-hearted joke. And the only reason I get any sort of comedic mileage out of him is because I've dedicated myself so thoroughly to disproportionately hating him.
Ah, so the illusion finally breaks. See, it's not even authentic anger.
It's theatrical hatred, Spooky. I'm not just gonna barbecue the vermin. I'm gonna do it gloriously.
Oh, come on, there's gotta be something to like, apart from just clowning on him.
Clowning?
Yeah?
Clowning. Clowning. Clowning.
Clowning on him.
The clown.
The clown?
The clown.
The clown.
So, the clown...
Wait. The clown?
No, the clown.
Ah, the clown.
The clown.
The clown.
The clown. I'm glad we could come to this agreement.
Bye-bye.
This is a square.
Oh, you don't say.
Can you guess which spot the square goes in?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm great at these. The square hole.
That's right, it goes in the square hole.
I'm unbeatable. How does he do it? How does he do
Now,
it?
how about this rectangle?
The rectangle hole.
The square hole.
Square hole, that's exactly what I was about to say. I'm 2 for 2, baby.
Up next, we've got this baby.
Easy. The baby hole. Wait. Spooky, where the fuck did you get a baby?
Where does the baby go?
Back home to its loving family?
That's right, it goes in the square hole.
I'm fucking done. I've never felt so aggressively pro-choice. There was a part of me that deeply wanted to discount this thing from the list under a similar basis as the husks. But unlike those guys, Babyface actually does feel like a unique standalone creature. And it has an endless mode chase, for some reason.
Well, how else was I gonna housebreak him?
You don't housebreak a baby.
Sure you do. You break them in before they fit. Like some shoes!
I'm ignoring you now. I'm gonna start by giving credit where I shouldn't be giving credit. This design is pretty effective. I hate it. Some people say Babyface is Silent Hill-esque, which is kinda true, but it would be wrong to say that Babyface is being directly influenced by Silent Hill. More accurately, Babyface and Silent Hill are both pulling from a similar source, in particular the works of Irish painter Francis Bacon. Babyface takes a lot of cues from Bacon's work, like the boxiness and the screaming face, and meshes them with more typical horror gamey accents, like all the jittering, the distorted mewling, and the vaguely, vaginal looking glitch face. This was another reason I considered leaving it off the list entirely, by the way. At no point did I want to be in a video talking about a decapitated baby head and describing it as vaginal.
I can find a different word if you want.
That'd be horrible. Don't do that.
Labia!
Wow, you made it so much worse. Thanks, Spooky.
Bagooter!
Stop.
All in a day's work.
So yeah, I respect the inspiration, but I hate this design, and I don't know whether or not to censor it. Probably not, because the glitch face really is just a UV error that Kira decided to keep in the game. That's not the main issue though. In a kind of similar way to Auto, the issue is that it's its own specimen encounter, yet it's basically ineffectual. Its locale is a dark room with a catwalk that ends as quickly as it appears, and Babyface itself just kind of slowly floats towards you. If it gets in the way, hit it with the axe and it'll warp somewhere else. That's it. And look, you could argue that not every specimen needs to be overly complicated or anything, but part of the fun of Endless Mode is not knowing what specimen is next until you're literally in their locale. The main game goes in a distinct order, but in Endless Mode, I have no idea if the halls I'm wandering are gonna lead me to a John Carpenter film, or if I'll, get to stop for a slice, or if the Lord above will banish me to the depths of Arby's. To have all that anticipation build up to Babyface is the biggest anticlimax one could feel in this game. It's still better than Auto, because discomfort with a mix of disappointment is still more effective than a joke that aggressively does not land, but that's really more of a Pyrrhic victory than anything. Alright, I'm done with this guy. You ready to move on?
Wambu, what's a pewdinda?
I'm gonna fucking burn that iPad. You know, I'm not exactly against joke FNAF monsters or cursed Francis Bacon specimens on principle. With the right execution, I really do think any creative idea, no matter how stupid, can be good or even amazing. In the entire game, there was really only one specimen who tested my resolve with that philosophy. In case you don't remember, this game came out in the early 2010s.
It's Friday, Friday.
Maybe this video game kinda sucks, actually. I mean, we all see the problem here, right?
Yeah, I don't know why people are scared of Rebecca Black. She's a total meme.
Who is scared of Rebecca Black?
You know, there's people out there.
Circa 2011?
Yeah, she can be kind of terrifying. Or so I've heard. Maybe they've got a point, who knows?
Spooky, are you scared of Rebecca Black?
No. It's just that, if you really think about it.
You're scared of Rebecca Black.
What fiendish schemes lurk behind her innocent smile as she gleefully waits, day by day, to the hour of reckoning known as the weekend.
She was a 13-year-old who made a dumb little song about cereal and bus stops.
She spends all that time waiting for the bus, just to rebel against society by getting in the car with her friends instead. And she specifically chooses the middle back seat. Why? Why? It's the only one that's not a window seat. JFK?
We digress a little over here. Man, oh man, does this feel like a retroactively shameful thing to have taken part in. Given how pretty much all of the early 2010s mockery of this former viral child celebrity has aged like milk, I was primed to hate Becca pretty immediately. But to give sincere credit, this is actually played pretty straight. It's a pretty earnest attempt at making a scary creature. It's not just weird death battle cyberbullying or whatever the fuck this guy was doing.
Friday, I'm so slutty on Friday.
In the Karamari Hospital DLC, Becca basically just steals the endless hallway shtick from the Taker, but in endless mode she specifically ambushes the player at each exit door, creeping towards them slowly and then vanishing after a little while. Definitely creepy, but doesn't sound too difficult on the surface, right? Well, what if I told you that I've been withholding one of the unique mechanics of endless mode from you guys until now?
Because you didn't know how to work it into the intro?
Because I didn't know how to work it into the intro. Anyway, if you have basic game knowledge on how all of the specimens work, then endless mode sounds pretty easy on the surface. The twist, however, is that you can actually encounter multiple specimens at once. Ben could chase you at the same time as Otto, Goop could chase you at the same time as Siren, or you could get ganged up on by 3 or 4 specimens. Or in the best case scenario, 2 centipedes. The point is that in the context of endless mode, specimens don't have to just stand out on their own. We can factor in teamwork, chemistry, but 9 times out of 10, the solution is that we all die horribly, together, as friends. Becca is a particularly nasty specimen to combo with one of the more direct chase-oriented specimens, as having your exit blocked off even for a little bit can be incredibly anxiety-inducing. Hell, in some of the shorter rooms, you may even have to tank Becca's attacks in order to avoid damage from an even stronger specimen. She ends up landing right on the borderline between terrible and kinda okay, because while she works as an obstacle that's occasionally tough to surmount, every time I find myself being a little freaked out by her presence, I remember that the game is attempting to frighten me with an objectively overhated child star, and I'm just taken right out of it. Like, come on, this isn't a horror reference. It's a real living person with feelings.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind.
I mean, would this be an insult, or would it be a compliment?
She's a powerful and scary monster. It's a compliment.
I guess we could ask her.
Ask her? Wambu, no, do not summon her.
Because you're not scared of her.
Because I'm not scared of her.
Well, then we should be fine to call her. Oh, wait, never mind. Guess I'm not doing that. Man, I could have had 2 cool cameos in here. Ah, well, at least I still got Spooky. Spooky. Guess I'm down to 0 now. Who else is on this website, actually? Am I on here? No, that'd be dumb. Why would I be on here? Oh, hey, you're back.
Black, as in Rebecca Black?
No. Back, as in Rebecca back.
Okay, phew. I was about to take this box and run away again.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where did you get that?
In the creepy basement of some small-time game studio.
It says trademark Konami Group Corporation ... kinda.
Not anymore.
I don't know if that's how intellectual property works.
Hey, check this out.
Oh.
It's mine now.
Oh, jeez. Spooky, you can't do this. You're just doing a plagiarism.
It's not plagiarism. She was a free agent.
A free agent? She's an idea that was conceptualized by a totally different studio.
She's her own woman, and she needed a new place. Now she's uncanceled, and she gets to be on my payroll. She's moisturized and thriving.
You have a payroll?
Okay, don't tell the specimens, but I don't have a payroll.
I kind of figured.
She gets housing.
Anyway, if you remember the concept behind Lisa from PT, then you can probably infer the general concept of Lisa from Spookies as well. You know, endless hallways, scary breathing, a bit of a bobblehead, but with a few significant differences to the game's credit. Lisa never actually goes right into the chase like most of the other specimens on the list. Instead, she gives like 15 rooms of build-up with the unsettling red glow and the raspy breathing. She also enlists the help of my guy Specimen 1 to leave some ominous warnings. I've been watching you
for a while now. Why even bother filling your lungs? Medium deep dish with pepperoni and jalapeno.
Wait, I don't get that one.
Oh, sorry, that's for me. It's for our dinner plans later.
Could you get me just a small plain pizza?
What? Finish your video.
I will. I just want pizza.
It's the middle of
I can cover it.
Fine, I'll get you a pizza.
Thank you so much, I love you. Once the chase starts proper, there's some pretty big differences from PT as well. Namely that in order to survive your encounter with Lisa, you must keep your eyes on her. If you take your eyes off her even for a second, she'll very quickly start wailing on you. If you're aware of the main game specimens, she's effectively a more unforgiving version of Ben the Merchant. And spoiler alert, she's not even the only specimen on this list to lift her gameplay mechanics from Ben. We'll get to the other one later, but in spite Despite of being probably the most dangerous of the three, she's also the worst of the three, unfortunately. Encountering Lisa is an utterly miserable experience, and it's for one very specific reason. During the duration of her chase, she will prevent the room counter from going up. You know that 15 room buildup I mentioned earlier? Well, you better hope you can make it to a checkpoint elevator in that time, otherwise you're stuck with her for 20 more rooms that won't even count to your final score. And most specimens aren't just one-off encounters. That would be fine in Lisa's case, but no. She will re-chase you, adding more and more uncounted rooms to your final score. And it sucks to rank her this low, because she's legit one of the more threatening specimens in the game, and she has a lot going for her. I like her scary build-up, her chase theme is pretty freaky, and her game over screen is even pretty cool. But by the third or fourth time she appears on the re-chase, my sense of fear is quickly replaced by overwhelming irritation. It's not uncommon for people to just sack their endless mode runs if they get Lisa first, and honestly, I totally get why.
Here's your pizza. Lisa left a little note on it.
Oh, okay. It says, you're a
meanie, and you don't deserve pizza.
Yeah, feels bad. And on the topic of potential upsets, I don't get it. I've had a lot of people tell me that Terziak is their favorite specimen, and I just don't really understand it. And this isn't me trying to come from a smug sense of superiority or anything. Oh, Wambu's on another mental level. He's different. He's free from the groupthink. No, I want to get into the groupthink. I just want to have normal, agreeable opinions for once in my life. Now, to be fair, all these specimens from this point onward have at least a couple qualities I really like about them, and that includes Terzi. Her chase has a very distinct vibe thanks to the weird cyan mist that seems to follow her, and the percussive jungle-ish chase theme. It's this strange blend of animalistic and vaguely cosmic, accentuated further by these shadowy animals that block your way during the chase. Still, I don't think I'm seeing what everyone else is seeing.
Oh, I'm Wambu. I need things that are fun and good, and my body's 25% candle wax. I'm so ace, I hate the waifu specimen. What a cop-out.
Oh, that's how you want to do this?
That's how I want to do this.
Alright, I'll tell you exactly what I don't like about Terziak.
Oh, jeez. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't even know I had knuckles to crack.
Do you want, like, a Band-Aid or something? Do you need some milk?
No, I'll be fine, thank you. I've made it no secret that Spookies is chock full of horror references. Even in this list, we've already seen FNAF with Otto and PT with Lisa, but Terziak seems to take her concept from a very interesting source. See, there's this horror game I'm a fan of called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion.
Why do you run, child?
Why do you run?
Yeah. A forest spirit with an outdoor woodsy locale talking to you throughout the chase and trying to feed you to their animals. I'm sorry, but we've walked eerily similar ground before. And look, I love the Dear Lord a lot, but that doesn't mean you could just dress up like him and get a pass.
Look who's talking.
No, this is different, okay? It's a joke, okay? I'm doing it to be cute. I'm gonna be funny. I'll be hilarious one day. You'll see. You'll all see.
You done?
Right, so look, even if I loved Dear Lord so much that I wanted there to be two of him, Dear Lord is super scary and imposing. Terziak is a cartoon fairy girl. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with cute little cartoon characters. But if I'm meant to be intimidated by it, just prima facie, sorry, but that ain't happening. Apart from all that and the admitted jankiness of some of the shadow animal hitboxes, Terziak's chase is still pretty good from a gameplay standpoint, and that's why she made it this high at the very least.
I don't know, I still don't get it.
Nuh-uh, you do get it, and I don't get it, and that's the problem. You made fun of me for it earlier.
Oh, so I should keep making fun of you then.
Exactly. Wait, no.
You're a buffoon.
I've played myself. Hey, Spooky.
Yeah, what's up?
Tell me what I'm looking at.
Aw, Charles is sleeping.
Spooky, I'm officially banning you from going anywhere near babies for the rest of the video.
What? Just because I boxed one and stretched the other?
Yeah, because you boxed one and- wait, you did what? I can't believe we really gotta deal with 2 baby-themed specimens here. I wonder how Josh and Ari are doing.
Who?
If you know, you know.
Do they have more babies I can steal?
Spooky? No. You know, for as much as I think the rules I've set here make the most sense for a list like this, it is kind of a shame that I had to nuke several of the dollhouse specimens in order to do it. But if we had to keep only a couple qualified, I'm glad Wormy Charles got to be among them.
Wormy Charles? That's such a dumb name.
Did you name him that?
Yeah, I did such a bad job.
I like the name.
That's because you're a silly little guy.
I know. Wormy Charles is the first and arguably most memorable major encounter in the Dollhouse DLC. Man, what a gruesome little weirdo. He's getting like tied into a little pretzel. The Dollhouse DLC takes place in one consistent map, so in that mode he doesn't really chase you through multiple rooms. Instead, he prowls the main area, doing his own thing until he spots the player. You'd think a specimen like that wouldn't really work in a game mode where you're constantly going through new, continuous rooms, but Wormy sure found a way to adapt. At the start of each room, Wormy will spawn in a semi-random spot, most of the time notably ahead of you, and he won't actually chase until he sees you. Sometimes he spawns in some random corner you can easily bypass, but the other, much worse situation is that he spawns ahead of you in a narrow hallway, and you gotta juke the boy fast, cause that train's gonna come barreling at you in a couple seconds. You can't really outrun him much, but you can typically avoid his attacks if you just stay on the move and occasionally burst ahead. You could also kill him. Just, you know, axe that baby right in the dome. That's fucked up. It's an option though, but it takes like 10 swings and you have to hit him in just the right spot. If you're being chased by any other specimen at the same time, it's not a great idea. If you suck with the axe, also probably not a great idea. Don't be the guy who loses the 1v1. Be like me, I've mastered the art of axe murdering this baby. Please don't clip that. Point is, depending on context and skill level, you'll likely be flanking your way around this slimy, slinky slug baby. Similarly to my praises for Parasite, Wormy brings a unique, uncomfortable vibe to the table that I really appreciate, especially considering his kill method.
Stremching?
Stremching. If Wormy Charles lands the killing blow, the player is treated to one of the more notable moments of body horror in the game, with this text blurb going into gruesome, poetic detail about your stretchy demise. But uh-oh, what's this? I'm putting on my media critic glasses. We gotta talk about the negatives now. We're getting even-handed up in here.
In my humble opinion, I believe Wormy is substantive yet bland.
Yes, quite. He's subtle yet abrasive.
He's wormy yet Charles.
We're really good at this.
I know, right?
In all seriousness, while I really like Wormy, I think he suffers a bit from substance over style. He's a really cool monster conceptually and mechanically, but his presence just doesn't feel as momentous as it should be. Like Babyface, he sometimes feels like he's just kind of there. His locale is both short and entirely generic, and he doesn't even have a proper chase theme. Maybe if something played once he notices you, that'd add a little bit more tension to his encounter, but I don't know. Anything you want to add, Spooky?
Wormy Charles is, very stretchy. He's like those, I can't think of anything, those stretch toys that you pull.
I mean, yeah, okay, cool. Thumbs up for Wormy, easily the better of the 2 baby specimens.
How dare you choose between your kids? You're a bad parent.
They're not my kids.
Oh yeah. How dare you choose between my kids?
They're not yours either, you stole them, remember?
Finders keepers.
Oh my god.
Hey, so who do we got next?
Spooky, I swear to god, if you stole a 3rd child...
What? No, this is just a doll. Relax.
Oh, well okay then.
I can take a hint, okay? Apparently, I can't do anything right, so I'm not even gonna try anymore.
It's not personal, Spooky, it's just... you shouldn't kidnap babies.
No, I get it. No one thinks Spooky can be mature. No one thinks Spooky can be responsible for another life.
Completely true.
I guess from now on, I'll stick to the inanimate, so I don't destroy the future of any more promising youths.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Whatever.
I don't feel sorry for her. Have you guys ever wondered...
Wambu, I ruined everything!
How?
Possessed doll. Never knew. Could have happened to anybody.
Where'd you get that?
A coven of witches sold it to me for €7 and 2 fingernails.
Yeah. Could have happened to anybody.
Could have happened to anybody.
Earlier, I said only a couple dollhouse specimens made the list, and by sheer coinkydink, we're talking about them both back to back. Now, I already know what some of you are going to say. Wambu, you said earlier in the last entry that Wormy Charles was the most memorable dollhouse encounter. Why is this dumb old doll even higher on the list? Y'all are just so fucking thirsty to contradict me all the time. Well, slow your roll, why don't ya? I saw it coming this time. I saw you all coming. Don't clip that either. I do think Wormy Charles is generally the more memorable creature, but that doesn't necessarily mean his sister here is the worst specimen. If anything, it kinda makes her the sleeper pick for this list. The one whose quality didn't spring immediately to mind, but revealed itself more and more when stacked up against everyone else. Gotta get one thing out of the way here. When it comes to aesthetics that one could use for horror, babycore is my least favorite one. Scary babies, scary dolls, scary baby dolls. Ooh, I'm a scary baby. I got childhood trauma all over my bib. Is it a pacifier or the barrel of a gun? Either way, I'm gonna put it in my mouth. Look, I just don't like it. There are exceptions, obviously, but the point is that before playing Dollhouse, I kinda expected to not feel it as much as the main game, or Karamari. But Hook Doll reminded me of two things. One, it's a game by Akuma Kira. It's not gonna be edgy babycore shit, it's gonna be surreal atmospheric horror. Or it's gonna be stupid as fuck. And two, I really like surreal atmospheric horror. Oh yeah, this is my shit. Inject it straight into me, Doc. Whoa, hey there.
Do you feel anything?
No.
Is it because you don't have a bloodstream?
Yeah. Hook Doll has such a haunting, quiet vibe. Her chase theme is super low-key, and there's this blue haze everywhere, making everything darker and harder to see. It all feels otherworldly. And as for Hook Doll herself, well, remember the Weeping Angel specimens I brought up earlier? I said before that there were 3 of them, but there are actually 3 of them. Nothing's changed. I only bring them up because Hook Doll is exactly the opposite of them. She's not a Weeping Angel, she's
Dunktastic demon. That's what they're called. I'm the monster collector here. I know these things.
Okay, fine. She's a dunktastic demon, I guess. The point is to not look at her, or else she approaches. If she gets close enough, she will attack and also drain your health in super small increments. She spawns at a random position in the room, so you'll never quite know where not to look. You could always chance it or take the safe approach and keep looking down. Viewers, meet my buddy, The Ground. I visit him when I want to know nothing about the world around me. On her own, Hook Doll is not much of a threat, but with another specimen, her ability to limit your vision can be super dangerous, especially with faster chase specimens like Subject 5, or obstructive specimens like Wormy Charles. That about covers execution, but Hook Doll has quite a bit going on under the surface conceptually as well, and to explore that, we're gonna need to address a rather unexpected source.
West Berlin?
No. Wait, yes actually, what the fuck? Supernatural horror film Suspiria, originally made in 1977, but given a new version in 2018. I hadn't heard of it before making this list, but this movie inspired Hook Doll, which sounds kinda weird at first. It's about an American who travels to Germany to attend a dance academy, but of course, all is not as it seems. So like, how is this movie related to dolls? It's not, which is unfortunate, because that means it's related to hooks. In one scene, the main character is made to perform this intense and elaborate dance, while a character in a separate room is seemingly ravaged and mangled as the dance progresses. She gets twisted up like a pretzel rod, it's really gross, I won't show it, but later on her body is discovered by the other matrons and is impaled and dragged away on large hooks. I find this element of Hook Doll particularly fascinating. Based on her kill screen, we can assume she's possessed by the spirit of a starved, abused, and abandoned child. Granted, not the most original concept for a spooky doll, but it does kinda shine a poetic light on the Suspiria reference. In a game filled with monsters based on cultural horror figures or specific kill methods like Wormy Charles with stretching, Hook Doll is the only one based specifically on the disposal of a body. And whether that's deliberate or just a weird coincidence, it's a smart detail that adds another layer of bleakness behind an already pretty haunting specimen.
Wow, that really sucks, actually. Maybe it's a good thing that the doll ended up in our care, instead of just being left alone.
Yeah, maybe we ought to refurbish it a little. She has tetanus.
Oh god.
The wounds left from her hooks have already developed serious bacterial infection.
What should I do?
Apply an injection of metronidazole around the infected area.
Does she even have a bloodstream?
Weirdly, yeah. Whew. Operation successful. We yassified her. She's beautiful. Now you get out there and you slay and you serve. You cutty queen. I don't know if I could say that.
You can't.
I did a great job today, Spooky. I deserve a treat.
You what?
I deserve a treat.
A treat.
Like a fave.
A fave?
Yeah, I did a great job today.
Where are you getting your treat?
We're already here.
Your treat is at a morgue?
I'm gonna pick out one of the bodies.
You're gonna pick out one of the bodies?
I'm gonna pick out one of the bodies.
You can't just pick out one of the bodies.
This one. I'm picking this one. Taking the Golden Sleeper Award for why in the gosh diggity fuck do I like this specimen so much, we have the body bag. I guess we go from the disposal of a body to the storage of a body. In a weird way, trying to hyper-rationalize my love of Body Bag feels a bit counterintuitive, when the simple truth is that he hardcore passes my vibe check. Honestly, what if I just said that I really like him and left it at that?
Everyone would probably find that super unprofessional.
But they'd want me to do it anyway.
No, they'd probably think you were bad at what you do.
They'd say, hey, Wambu, old buddy, old chum, sometimes the omnipresent power of love needs no justification.
They'd want to watch you squirm as you try to explain yourself.
Okay, well, I guess I could do that too. Back in my last Spookies list, I got accused of being an overthinker a lot, and I am, but it's just because overthinking is fun. I don't really think there's anything wrong with looking deeply into a piece of media that was never intended to be all that deep. But the flip side is that sometimes the surface level pieces can just be enjoyable enough on their own. Body Bag is an inexplicable undead creature that found its way into the morgue of Karamari Hospital, but there's really not much more to it conceptually. In the Karamari DLC itself, it shows up for like 15 seconds and never gets expanded on past that. That aside, in Endless mode it comes through as one of the faster chase specimens, with an intimidating design, an eerie fog effect, and probably the coolest sounding chase theme in the entire game. Yeah, I just think the Body Bag is straightforwardly pretty great. What do you think, Spooky?
The Body Bag sucks, and he's just in one chase sequence. He generally sucks. He's just a body bag.
You know what? You're right. We should do something about it.
What do you mean by do something about it?
Writer's Room. We'll make a backstory right here, right now.
Wambu, can we do this?
Why not? You're Spooky. You're the titular character, the mastermind behind the mansion. You're even voiced by the game's original developer.
I don't know what you mean. I'm Spooky and I voice myself.
You turned the voice changer off by mistake.
Oh, sorry. Give me a sec.
Yeah, I'm Spooky and I voice myself.
Point is, you can do what you want with your mansion. Have some fun.
I don't know.
Or you could leave all the creative writing to me.
I'm in.
Thought so.
2 hours later.
This might have been a mistake.
Read it, read it.
I will, I just gotta transition into it real quick. Okay, here we go. While the Body Bag has a lot of things to love on the surface, there's also his amazing backstory that I just remembered about and did not make up.
Here it comes.
Okay, let's see here. How a Body Got the Bag by Spooky, parentheses, Wambu helped.
I'm so excited.
It's your debut as an author, how could you not be?
Keep going, keep going.
The Body was a man. He was 7'11" and worked at 7-Eleven due to his optimal height. He could spit a whole 3 yards and held his high school record for most drugs not done. This is character establishment for the main character. You don't need to say that, Spooky. They already know that from context.
I won't be taking criticism at this time.
Fair enough. One day, his job didn't pay him, and he ran out of health insurance. Because he was in America, he was boned. I like this part. It feels relatable.
Thank you.
He then decided to die before life could kill him, so he bought a body bag off of Amazon from a bald Albuquerque man who just recently stopped being dead.
Seems pretty sus.
Yeah. It was then that the body met the bag. He climbed into it for the first time and immediately felt his energy draining. Over time, he stopped being able to move. He was still alive, but his body started to decay. The bag was parasitic and was slowly absorbing the body's life force. His skin tone turned dull, skin grew over his mouth, and he became bald like Mr. Albuquerque.
It all comes full circle.
In spite of it all, the body remained alive. Eventually, he was found and taken to Karamari Hospital. The body thought maybe he could be saved and released from the bag, but things quickly went downhill. The body couldn't communicate, couldn't be released from the bag, and couldn't move unless the bag specifically willed it. Eventually, he was given up on and tossed into the morgue forever. And then it says, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? Why does it end like that?
A bit of comic relief. You made it all scary and sad at the end.
What can I say? I was feeling edgy.
So that's it then?
I mean, there's still a wiki page to be edited, but yeah, how do you feel?
I don't know. Proud? Kinda feels like we just made fan fiction though.
Well, I personally think we did a great job and that we deserve a treat.
No. No more treats, Wambu. No more treats. Before we dig into the top 5, I think it's important to remind the viewers of a certain thing that happened earlier in this video.
And lo, me Wambu. Rule 1, the dead bodies are under the floorboards. Rule 2, there are no rules. Spooky gets to kill you whenever she wants. Rule 3, I'm leaving. Spooky gets my channel now. So long, Wambu. I don't remember that.
It happened, trust me.
You know, my memory is not what it used to be, but I think I'd remember getting—
Just let me have this.
Wait, I remember now. What was rule 1? It's time for you to die.
What did you get?
Oh, you again. Man, why couldn't it have been Bab? I wish it was Bab.
What? You got something against ghost girls now?
Yes, you're very irritating.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm in Ringu's locale again. Try to ignore the fact that I am holding a gun. That's a glitch. I'm not supposed to have that. If you see the gun in the footage, don't worry about it. Just don't even worry about it. Pretend it's not even there. Placing Ringu in the top 5 feels like I'm rebelling against my own taste in a sense. I was not that fond of her when I made my first Spookies list. She only barely made my top 10, and if I made that list today, she would have been overtaken by both Siren and my favorite hug bug, Subject 5. Both of those two have elevated in my book, while my thoughts on Ringu have stayed mostly the same. And to be fair, she's never been a bad specimen. I was always kind of bored with her conceptually, but I found her general execution to actually be pretty strong. She was the first specimen to really shake things up with a strong atmosphere and design. Basically, the first actually scary specimen in the game. And with her unique evolved endless mode form, she's also one of the scariest specimens in the game by far, and arguably one of the biggest run killers. So what happened exactly? How did one of my least favorite main game specimens conceptually circumvent the whole process of making me like her in order to land in the top 5? She learned photography. Hey, it worked for Pokemon, it can work here too. Keep that pose, darling, you look like $1 million. Or, the Japanese currency.
Yen.
I think it's dong.
That's Vietnam.
You look like $1 million dong.
Stop saying that.
See, this is it right here. She's a Fatal Frame reference now too, which, if you really think about it, should warrant a name change. Nah, I hate this, actually. Ringu constantly switches between a more defined version of her normal form with a creepy smile, and her wicked-looking third form with the multiple arms and the slacked-open jaw and the twitching. Her new theme has her creaking and moaning over what sounds like a distorted organ that descends and swells at random. And there's a static dome around you that is constantly and rapidly closing in on you. Once it gets close enough to touch, it resets with the sound of a camera and starts closing in on you again. The static barrier in particular is just such an evil part of evolved Ringu's design. Take one of the more high damaging specimens in the game and give her the most vision impairing ability in the game, and guess what? She's not a weeping angel, but she will go faster if you're not looking at her. And since she already phases through walls, getting her off your back is virtually impossible while she's chasing you. It's obnoxious on its own, but try to imagine her chase alongside other specimens, like Parasite, who requires you to go slower, or Terziak, where you have obstacles in front of you to hit, or Hook Doll, because apparently I don't need to fucking see. I don't need my eyes. I'm fine without those. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How do you feel about all this, Spooky?
Evolved Ringu. Whoa.
I feel that, but also, you're literally the worst feature I've ever had. Oh my god. Anyway, it would be a stretch to say that I like Evolved Ringu better than the Bag Boy, Hook Doll, or even Wormy Charles. In fact, I'll just say it, I like those three more. But Ringu holds a place that no other specimen holds. She's my goddamn enemy. I've survived her shit plenty of times before, but I'm never confident in my ability to handle her. Especially if she's got other specimens teaming up with her. No matter the run, if she's on the rechase cycle, I don't feel safe. And that's something not even the specimens who landed above her can claim. She's not getting any higher, because I still find her to be one of the less intriguing specimens in the game, but she's clearly had a lot of time and love and thought put into her design. Ringu is a damn good specimen. I will be big enough to admit that, but I will do it very begrudgingly. Ugh, I hate having the integrity to qualitatively assess my negative feelings on a piece of media as actually being a feature rather than a flaw. Why can't I just say that I don't like it, therefore it sucks? That would be so much easier.
Yeah, well, that's tough. Say, if you're not using your eyes, does that mean I can have them?
Back the fuck off. Spooky, you look... What's on your head?
It's thematically appropriate.
Literally how? That's fucked up. The final Weeping Angel finally rears his ugly head, and his ugly hands, and feet, and his ugly set of like a million teeth. And not only is he the third Weeping Angel, he's the best one. Yeah, I mean it. Friendship ended with Ben the Merchant. Scary Teeth Boy is now my best friend. And this is a little surprising at first. His brother Ben has a much more fleshed out locale and developed backstory, on top of being a generally higher damage dealer too. What the fuck? What is wrong with you? His sister Lisa has a more frightening build-up and is generally more standout, and yet Hanged Man still comes away the sneaky MVP, at least in my eyes. The first reason for this is pretty simple. He's the scariest looking one. Like, I'm sorry, it's not even close. Dude's just so fucked up. The other reasons lie in the fine details, both in the gameplay and the narrative of the Karamari DLC. First of all, when I called him the sneaky MVP, I mean that in more ways than one. Dude's the sneakiest motherfucker. And it's due to a design choice that I'm not even sure was deliberate. I've talked a little about chase themes throughout this video. You know, Terziak has a jungly sounding one, Evolved Ringu's is all creepy and discordant, and Parasite has the one where my eyes start crying on their own, and there's like bleeding rashes all over my body, and I start to claw at my face, and after a while the blood starts coming out of my eyes as well. I'm just over here looking like the Despicable Me soap dispenser.
What on earth are you talking about?
That could just be a me thing. It's all subjective, really. The point is, Hanged Man has them too, and his is subtle as a brick. Right off the bat, he just screams at you. And that alone is pretty startling, right? Like, you could just imagine him popping up at random and you just jump at the sudden noise. But the chase themes don't always play. Sometimes the specimens show up without the themes, and that's not usually a problem because they all have audio or visual cues. A bunch of them bust down the entry door, some of them have visual effects, even Ben has a little laugh he does right before jumping you. If Hanged Man does not scream at you upon starting a chase, he makes no noise at all. Maybe you'll just be walking or you'll be focused on another specimen and all of a sudden your health is chunked. I've had way too many close calls with Hanged Man purely for this reason. He doesn't do much damage, thankfully, so as of right now, I've yet to lose a run to him. But one day, I definitely will. He's gotten so close so many times. One day, I'll narrowly survive a really close encounter and he'll just finish me off because I won't even notice he's there. And that thought fucks me up. You guys notice how in a bunch of this gameplay footage, I've been turning around at the start of every room? That's because of him. It's because I know he might just show up at any random moment. I think he's the only specimen in the entire game to just randomly cement a habit like that in me. So yeah, he's genuinely my favorite Weeping Angel in terms of game design, but there's still the conceptual narrative element to discuss. And I think for that, we may have to dive into the lore of Karamari a bit. Is that okay with you? I know that stuff might be a little traumatizing for you.
The past is the past.
It's just that, you know, a lot of people you cared about died horribly.
The past is the past, yes sir.
Can you take off the hat, please?
Nope.
Far below Spooky's mansion lies a hospital, one that was seemingly abandoned after the staff committed really atrocious acts of violence against their patients without even really being conscious of it, removing their organs, impaling them with hospital equipment, and canceling prescriptions. This isn't fucking cool. I need my antidepressants, okay? They're helpful, and I'm not saying to be cavalier about drug dependency. It's important to see a psychiatrist, figure out all the proper medication and dosage and whatnot, take care of oneself, but also be responsible. Sorry, I lost the plot. My point is, give me my fucking meds. Locked away in the hospital's secret basement is where Hanged Man resides as one of the only remaining human victims. None of the notes seem to allude to him, but whatever happened left him as an undying mutated cannibal with the perpetual desire to consume more and more. It's super fucked up on a conceptual level, though even with the DLC he's not expanded on too much beyond a pretty short encounter. Still, you have to wonder what happened where the hospital staff just locked a lone patient in the secret recesses of the lab. The hospital is home to a few of the Undying at this point, but the spooky security guard likely worked at the hospital beforehand. The body bag was probably put in the morgue as a corpse. Hanged Man looks like a patient, and yet his isolation seems very purposeful. I'm almost certainly doing my overthinking thing again, but it's all just so implicitly messed up, and sometimes it's admittedly kind of creepier to not spell things out and just let the imagination take the wheel. Hanged Man seems like a terrible tragedy that was buried on purpose. We were never supposed to uncover him, and we're not destined to know more about him now that he's here. And, I don't suppose you know more about him either, do you?
Nope, not a clue.
You ready for top 3 then?
I sure am.
Then take off the hat!
No.
Spooky. Spooky.
What?
I'm scared.
A Pixelated Nightmare? That indie horror game originally released in 2012?
I mean, yeah, but you weren't supposed to get it that quickly.
Oh, I got it alright.
What?
It's mine!
God damn it, not again.
Digital whiteface? Dangerously problematic. This is very offensive to... well, not me. I'm generally multi-chromatic, but maybe to someone. Hey, Spooky.
No, it's not. Not to anyone. Also, shut up.
Damn. I wanted to devolve into woke hyper-moralizing, but it looks like that's gonna have to wait. I never get to have any fun. Yes, indeed, it seems like we have another specimen who's been taken from another game, and even more blatantly so than Lisa. There's no heavily inspired by tag next to him. In fact, there's pretty much no pretense of this guy being an original creature. It's Whiteface from I'm Scared, taken right from the source and adapted into a new game, which begs the question, who is straight white male face, and why am I scared of him? Am I scared of all straight white men?
Well, are you?
I'm Scared is basically the OG pixel horror fourth wall breaky game. If you've ever played a game that remembers your saves or requires you to mess with computer files, this is basically the one that walked so those games could run. Say thank you, Undertale fans. Thank you. You too, Doki Doki fans. And you guys, the one-shot fans in the back, you're not off the hook for this either. Say thank you, damn it.
Wambu.
Right, sorry. Describing the different set pieces and narrative beats of I'm Scared would likely take a while, but if any game is qualified to plagiarize it, it's this one.
Free agent, Wambu. Come on, we talked about this.
They're not free agents, their game's just ended.
And you want them to be starving and homeless just because of that?
I mean, I just figured they wouldn't even exist outside their own fiction.
Says the one collaborating with Spooky from Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion.
Okay, point surprisingly taken. Now, obviously, to an extent, it's hard for me to conceptually appreciate specimens who aren't original ideas, but I do like that this game at least tries to put a new spin on them. With Lisa, it was a little counterintuitive because in her original game, she'd kill you when you turned around to look at her. Here, you're just eyeing her up and moonwalking away. The way they implemented Whiteface makes a lot more sense. His first appearance is really jarring and haunting. You're just roaming the halls and then all of a sudden... The walls pixelate even further, and this spooky chime plays. If you turn around, you can sometimes see Whiteface just chilling there before anything even happens. From there, things go real quiet. You're just exploring the halls in silence with these bloody vines hanging down. You might not notice at first, but Whiteface is still in the room with you. While he doesn't have a chase theme at this point, you can still hear him through his pixelated rasping. And very often, you'll hear him coming closer, faster and faster, until he finally suddenly reveals himself. If you manage to dodge him for long enough, he'll teleport somewhere else and start approaching again. It's a very different dynamic from a normal chase. You usually won't see him at the start of a room, but you have the knowledge that he's somewhere and he's closing in. And in order to properly anticipate him, you'll have to trust your hearing as much as your vision. Other specimens can join in too, but even just on his own, Whiteface has one of the most atmospherically intense and anxiety-inducing chases in the whole game, and I really love him for that. Check this out though. If you have to die to any specimen, make sure it's Whiteface, because what happens is just so sick.
Is that another doll?
Seems like it.
I'll watch over it to the best of my ability.
Yeah, you do that. Anyway, there's so many cool things about this section. The doll hanging up there normally says the name of the player, though for me it just said owner. Howdy doody everyone, owner here. I'm in trouble. From here we're given a prompt. The hint is when Whiteface tells you that your body is all closed up. If you get it wrong, the game crashes, but if you type open.
Wambu, I ruined it.
Oh, that's okay, Spooky. It happens. You'll get it next time. After the disembowelment jump scare, you're teleported to a fleshy hallway where Whiteface stalks you. And it's apparently possible for other specimens to be here too, though I couldn't get footage of that happening. You only got 1 health, so take 1 hit and it's all over. But if you make it out, you can actually keep your endless run alive.
I just realized something.
Yeah?
If the hallway's made of flesh, and the doll on the noose is named after you, then would that imply the chase is actually happening in your own body?
I guess that would be the implication, though I don't really know how it's possible for me to be inside of myself. I'm free! I'm alive! Ow, my body and psyche, I guess. I'll make this up to you, but in the meantime, howdy doody everyone, Wambu here. Yo.
Okay, nope, this ain't happening.
Yo, you and me, we should collaborate sometime. I'm all about it. Well, it was wonderful meeting you. Aw, man, I liked him. I really hate having to do this, especially this high on the ranking.
What's that?
You know, I'm not really sure, but could you pull up YouTube on that TV over there?
Oh yeah, sure thing.
To explain my general tone throughout this entry, I'm going to have to give y'all a bit of context. God, if there was one specimen in this game that was such a head-destroyingly wasted opportunity from a design standpoint, it was definitely Specimen 8. Yeah, so this is not true anymore. Things change.
Fine. I guess you are my little podcast.
For example, the TV has now changed to broken. Miraculously, not too long after my last Spookies video came out, the Deer Lord got patched, and his chase was massively improved by the inclusion of the Warp Gate, allowing him to speed towards you if he's obstructed by a wall. I love this change, and frankly, I think I deserve a little bit of credit here.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, this was all Sheena.
And the rest of Albino Moose games. I don't want to forget them either.
Deer Lord was once the most underwhelming chase in the game, and now he's got one of the better ones. The point here, guys, is that things get better. Miracles do happen, and sometimes they happen again. Lightning strikes twice. I can make it happen.
You don't mean.
New target acquired. New target acquired. Why am I suffer? Just to suffer? I don't remember how the quote goes.
I think you're nailing it, but it begs the question, why am you suffer?
Right, Deer Lord is pretty unanimously the coolest looking specimen in the game, yet when I talked about him all those years ago, I was pretty sharply critical. I bring this up about Deer Lord because I feel like Ghost Cow is immediately impressive in a similar way. Straight out the gate, this is one of Kira's freakiest monster designs ever, and given that I played Lost in Vivo, Uktena 64, and Lunacid, that's saying something.
Okay, really? You make fun of me for definitely not being immensely afraid of Rebecca Black, but you're gonna freak out over my pet cow.
Your pet cow? The one with the bloodshot eyes and mangled legs? The one dangling upside down from a miraculous eye-mouth hybrid?
He was a normal cow when I got him.
He was a normal cow when you got him?
Yeah, but this was before our discussion about how I abominate every living thing around me.
You're right. This is my fault for being surprised at this point. On top of Ghost Cow's insane design, each time it shows up, the room changes into that of Karamari Hospital's isolation room. It's also surreal. The ceilings disappear, the walls become metal and sorta cage-like, and there's nothing to see beyond the world other than a black void. So it really does kill me to say that similar to Dear Lord pre-Warpgate, Ghost Cow is a non-threat. He's slower than most chase specimens, he doesn't do much damage, and most offensively, he's completely susceptible to the axe. If you've got him in a room solo, you could just kill him and end the chase.
You kill me!
Genuinely, in every other way, Ghost Cow is great. Kinda like the Taker from the main game, his presence seems almost kinda random at first, but also like Taker, there's a higher concept bubbling under the surface. With Ghost Cow in particular, the gruesome details just revealed themselves more and more as I dug into the story of Karamari. A hospital resides under the mansion. The staff starts committing these heinous acts of cruelty without any real reason or memory. At first, this seems to be explained by a virus that overcame the facility, leading to all the events that gave us all these horrifying specimens in the first place. But for the doctors themselves, something a little more complicated was going on.
Have you all heard of mad cow disease?
Spooky, I wasn't done.
It's when you feel yourself fading into the back of your own subconscious as your body acts on its most horrendous impulses. Your very being gives way to atrocities only dreamed of in the most malignant of minds. You have but only a tenuous grip on your own autonomy as each fade to blackness causes your reality to become a waking nightmare. Not for you, but for everyone and everything you love. You've been possessed by a very mean cow. If you or a loved one are experiencing any of the previous symptoms, call now or visit locally at Spooky's Funtime Bovine Exterminator for gifted children.
Okay, I have several questions and I want none of them answered. What Spooky was saying is exactly right though. At first, Ghost Cow just seems like another creature inhabiting the facility, but his game over screen sheds a whole new light on what happens in the notes. The text we see describes the nature of his power, how he takes over people's minds, brings all sorts of brutal behaviors out of them, and then makes them forget completely. Arguably, from a lore standpoint, Ghost Cow is the most dangerous specimen in the entire game. His actions can be as brutal as removing someone's liver, or as subtle as slipping them hallucinogens, but he can do it through the vessel of someone else, giving him total anonymity and freeing himself of consequence. Now, Ghost Cow isn't the main antagonist of Karamari, because he's a byproduct of a larger virus overtaking the hospital, but his presence alone dooms the place. No one can be safe. No one can trust anyone else, not even themselves. All because of Ghost Cow. He's ruthless. He's manipulative. He will break down people's minds and bodies until they're as violent as him, and then just leave them in the fallout. And there is no stopping him. Except for, well... I did it. I killed him. If only that hospital had me, a rando with a normal axe. You see why this sucks now? I spent all that time convincing you he was cool, and for what? It sucks to be harsh to a specimen who otherwise is really good. And jokes aside, I was really lucky that Dear Lord changed shortly after my complaints last time. It'd be kinda spoiled of me to expect the same thing to happen here. But regardless, I think even with these game design choices I don't like, I'd regret not sticking Ghost Cow in the number 2 spot, but he was never gonna make number 1. None of these guys were. You wanna know who did though?
I'd like to thank the Academy.
It's not you either.
Oh, well, can I keep this trophy?
It's not mine, so sure.
I win then.
I guess I'm happy for her. Anyway, here's number 1. Ah, the familiar feeling of finality. How it enriches my soul and imparts feelings of unanimity in my dingus.
I'm sorry, what?
I hope things have been fun for y'all. I don't know if I made this apparent, but I really wanted to make this list special in particular, both for the new viewers and the returning fans who more than likely saw my previous Spookies list. Y'all had requested this for a long time, and if you're new here, then take my word that y'all had requested this for a long time. I spent ages planning this thing. I made a Dear Lord avatar for myself, and I even got Spooky.
You got what?
I was about to say, I got you.
You got what?
I got...
You even got what?
Annoyed.
Oh, You maybe should have skipped that part.
And suddenly I can't wait for it to all be over. The unfortunate thing, though, is that after coming all this way, I would inevitably have to reveal that this was never much of a contest. If you don't know what that music means, on God, I don't know how to prepare you for this. This looks like a fucking prank. I'm not trolling or anything. He's a kid in a ghost costume, his name is Spooper, and he's the best specimen on this list by far. Scout's honor. I'll go under oath. Oh no.
You just don't put two and two together, huh?
No. Stella Luna, I'm so sorry.
Was it worth it, though?
Obviously no. Spooper really doesn't seem like much at first. In fact, I was charmed by him the first time around. But very quickly, things become tense. It's sort of a weird idiosyncrasy of games without dialogue. You can't say anything to him, and he can't say anything to you, so you just kind of stare at each other. Which, hey, I can understand that. Me IRL, TBH.
I don't see what's so tense about that. Okay, it's weird.
I told you. Problem here is that Spooper always stands in front of the door, and if you want to get him out of the way, you really only have one option. Yep, that's child murder again. Throw it on the pile.
We had a pile for this the whole time? Ow!
Enter the next room, and now he's back. How many times I gotta teach you this lesson, little man? But then things start getting weirder. Each time Spooper reappears at the exit door, he becomes more tattered and bloody. And on top of that, it becomes more and more clear that there is not a humanoid creature under that blanket. In his bloodiest state, you can see what looks like a big eye staring at you from his chest cavity. Still, all he does is stare at you and block the doors. You've got no choice but to keep clearing him away with the axe, and all the while it feels like it's gonna reach some sort of boiling point, and then he leaves. Sort of. The walls, floor, and ceiling all become covered with dirt and grime. And apart from occasionally flashing in to look at you, Spooper is gone. He's not even chasing you. No, instead, it's the air in the room that's killing you. Whatever's happening here, it's decaying your health very slowly. And you guys want to know what it actually is? Because I don't think y'all are ready to know his kill method.
Is it nuking?
No, he doesn't nuke you. And it's not radiation either.
Dental problems.
No.
Financial drainage?
Why do you keep guessing? You know it already.
I've got a lot of guys to keep track of, okay? You fans remember everything about every character, and I just wake up in the morning and it turns out I have a specimen named Bab.
Okay, well, I guess to jog your memory, Spooper's kill method is... It's that. Oh, jeez.
I remember now. Impregnation / internal bleeding. Spooper loves doing that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the room you're in isn't just dirtier, it's infested with spores, infecting the player and forming a fetus inside of them.
Speaking of which, can I throw that on the pile?
I guess I'm not using it.
Yay, new friend!
Anyway, as long as you're in Spooper's room, your health will continue to decay, meaning there's no automatic healing here whatsoever. I didn't really touch on this much before, but typically in moments of crisis, it's considered optimal to try and stall any damage being taken until the game can automatically heal you back up. That's not an option here. Spend too long in Spooper's room or take a hit from another specimen, and that health is gone until Spooper decides to leave. And he is not consistent with how long he stays. That vomit I played earlier takes a chunk of health, but it only happens if there are no other specimens chasing you. Then there's the other side of the coin here, when there are other specimens around. Taking damage from another specimen during a time where your health is constantly in decay is a devastating blow to your chances of survival. Every room that Spooper sticks around becomes increasingly more stressful, as you just keep seeing your health bar tick down and down, knowing you could have had so much more time if you just didn't get hit earlier. And if you're exceptionally unlucky, the other specimens can chunk you down and then leave, allowing Spooper to just vomit you to death. Balancing a specimen like that, who is inevitably going to do damage to you, is not easy, and very rarely you will get moments that are unfair. But for the most part, I think Spooper is done wonderfully. So many encounters I've had with him result in some of the most intensely close shaves I've ever had in endless mode. And close shaves are great, because I can't stand having facial hair. This is what I look like with facial hair. You don't want it. I don't want it. It's a travesty. The world is worse for this. I also want to mention during Spoopers Chase, there's sometimes this weird pink parasitic eyeball guy who floats around. A lot of people, including the writers of the wiki, have cited this as Spooper's true form, but from what Kira has told me themselves, that wasn't actually the intention, meaning we still don't know what Spooper looks like under that blanket. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up how fucking awesome Spooper is. How simultaneously morbid, gruesome, dangerous, suspenseful, and kinda endearing he is.
Spooper really is the best one. I agree completely. Coolest guy ever, never did anything wrong.
I mean, I wish he would stop impregnating me.
Boys will be boys.
I don't even have a womb.
Gotta get creative then.
The unborn fetuses just shoot out of my basin like a cannonball.
Well, that sounds like a skill issue.
Okay. But like I said, this wasn't much of a contest. Ghost Cow, Whiteface, they both had good showings. Hell, I even got to invent a new backstory to make Body Bag more interesting. Despite it all, Spooper ran away with the #1 spot. Even if we factored in the main game also, there's only a few specimens I think could even hold a candle. But at this point, there's no real reason for me to just make like a big conglomerate list where I rank all the specimens I've ever talked about.
You're gonna do it right now, aren't you?
I'm gonna do it right now. I'll chime in for any quick explanations. Otto the Otter, Babyface, Becca, Goop, Lisa, Ringu, Terziak, Cardboard Cutout, Subject 5. Hold it! I've only grown to love this guy even more. Being one of the faster main game specimens, I definitely underestimated how threatening he could be in the context of Endless Mode. Still, some of my criticisms hold. I love him a lot, I'm not all that scared of him. Alright, now I continue. Siren, hold it! Well, that was fast. Most Improved award definitely goes to Siren. The chase is a whole lot more interesting now thanks to a notable change in level design and in Siren's behavior during the chase. Only problem now is that, like Lisa, she massively overstays her welcome. Okay, let's continue. Wormy Charles, Ben the Merchant, Hooked All, Body Bag, hold it! Oh my god, this is already getting old. Look, even though I got spooky in the video, that whole backstory I made up, it's basically just headcanon, unless the community, like, really runs with it. Either way, I'm gonna keep loving this dude, and I thank both Kira and Sheena for giving me permission to apply my own silly creativity to him. Okay, let's go. Evolved Ringu, Taker, hold it! Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Thoughts mostly unchanged. Just wanted to say, I was onto something with that World War II shit. Play Dollhouse if you don't believe me. Okay, here we go. The Mansion, Hanged Man, Food Demon, hold it. If there's one specimen I lowballed in my previous list, it was probably this guy. I think it made sense at the time, given that I only factored in the main game, but Endless Mode and my interview with Kira did a lot to make this specimen grow on me. I think my generally underwhelmed feelings about his design caused me to underrate the other good things he actually had to offer. So I'm gonna remedy that now. Oh, we're getting close. Whiteface, bam. Ghost Cow, look, I'm just gonna interject for the rest of these, okay? One thing I forgot to mention, Ghost Cow's distorted mooing is done by one Roxy K. Roxy K is Kira's dog. Ghost Cow is voiced by Kira's dog. Anyway, the next 4 specimens are all my absolute faves. I go back and forth on how I'd rank them at this point. They could all be #1, but here's what I've got at the moment. Dear Lord. Dear Lord did a lot to improve since I last talked about him. The Warp Gate mechanic alone elevated him to one of the coolest characters in the game. Despite that, he landed in relatively the same spot, and the reason for that is because of this fucking guy. In the main game, Parasite is a very interesting and very literal change of pace, but in Endless Mode, oh, he's a straight up run killer. Getting him alongside any of the faster specimens is a nightmare. Also, in my last list, I said that I had 3 suspects for who the main bad guy of the game was going to be. Cardboard Cutouts and the Taker were the first 2, and Shitty Eel Bitch was the 3rd. You're welcome for answering that question many years too late. Wall of Flesh. It's not a Terraria reference. I proved this in the interview. I won this argument already. Stop telling me it's a Terraria reference. Alright, listen, it was kind of head-assed of me in retrospect to describe this section of the game as a literal therapy session, but it is genuinely a nice moment of compassion towards the player. It's a strange, surreal, and kind of warm vibe that no other specimen in the game really even attempts, much less lands on. Furthermore, I've become friends with Kira since I made that original list, and I've dug into their broader works as a result. The things I love about Wall of Flesh are arguably even more present in some of their subsequent work, like Lost in Vivo, Uktena 64, and Lunacid. So on top of being a great specimen, Wall of Flesh really exemplifies what I like about Kira as a developer. That being said, Spooper is #1, for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. And that wraps everything up. Thank you to Rom M for making the chase themes, to AMGSheena and Albino Moose Games for facilitating the HD version of Spookies, to Fawfy for buying me this game all the way back in 2020, to Wave for helping edit the Hanged Man and Body Bag entries, and to Kira for agreeing to be in this video, playing the canonical character of Spooky, for being the original creative mind behind this whole game in the first place, and for being a great friend. This game has really had like such a positive impact on my life in ways that I could not have possibly imagined. And while I'm a little sad to be putting it behind me like this, it's been a total blast. And I hope I've had a positive influence on this relatively niche horror community. What about you, Spooky? What are you gonna do now?
To be honest, I'm thinking Arby's.
Sounds gross. Let's do it.